It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Year 3, Episode 5 of Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast on this, the 5th day of January, 2024. Got a few headlines this morning, folks, we'll get to eventually. Got a whole bunch of stuff to go over here this morning. Flooding on board Royal Caribbean World Cruise is our top story. New Africa and Asia itineraries from Oceania. 2 destinations pass 1 million guests. Royal Caribbean partners with the world's largest live music event. And 2 more world cruises set sail. That and a lot more live here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, by the way, is National Whipped Cream Day. I mean, you can use whipped cream doing a lot of things, eating and otherwise. I'm a big fan on whipped cream. Yeah. So go have a dessert with some whipped cream on it. If you're listening via the blog, you can always access come on, tongue. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access it via my blog. There we go. That's accessadventure.net or wherever you get your podcast from. All the big guys just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the fat travel guy. Okay, so yesterday turned out to be just an awful, awful day for me, and an even worse one for Hot Air Tom, who is now probably calling me every bad name in the book. Let me explain. First of all, my interview yesterday afternoon that I'd been looking forward to all week canceled at the last minute. And for those of you that actually follow my travel schedule, about the same time the interview canceled, I discovered that my wheelchair wasn't going to fit in the cabin that Hot Air Tom and I were going to share on the Norwegian Sky trip from Baltimore to Quebec and Quebec to New York. So I had to call Hot Air Tom, said, "Oh, we got a problem." Well, Hot Air Tom in the meantime got a hold of his Norwegian person, and there was literally nothing, no accessible cabins available on the Sky anywhere. So he says, "Well, what about if we go out of Boston on the Gem? It's the same itinerary." That's fine with me, as long as I got an accessible cabin so I can get my wheelchair in and out. So he says, "Okay." So he had to start changing stuff, changing cruises, changing Amtrak, changing, I don't know what all he had to do. He's probably still mumbling at me. So anyway, we are now going on the Norwegian Gem. We sail on September the 6th from Boston. I love Boston. I'm even more excited about that than I was. So we're going to sail out of Boston. We go to Quebec, all the normal stops going up. Turn around in Quebec and come back to Boston. And then Hot Air Tom and I are going to spend some time in Boston, going around and seeing stuff. And I can do some accessibility stuff, and maybe I'll have Hot Air Tom there. He can do some filming of me. So that'll be good for my content creation. So anyway, I haven't looked at availability on the Gem yet. I'll check that out today to see if we might want to add that on Cruise with Chillie uh, as a possibility. I don't know. I'll have to check and see the availability of sticking a group up there. It's not a bargain cruise by any stretch of the imagination, folks, nor is it a good deal for solos. But I mean, it's that time of year um, when you're in the early part of the fall color season, and you're just not going to get a good deal on anything up in that part of the world in the fall. Just to make mention again, folks, of the first Cruise with Chillie cruise, which is February the 5th on the MSC Magnifica. Double occupancy starts at $259. Solo cabins start at $328. And that includes taxes and port charges. So, I mean, those are out the door numbers, unless you want to add on like the beverage packages and those kind of things. So all you have to do is get in touch with me. I've got a number of people to contact back today. I've got 3 or 4 that are to get back to me also, other than the ones that I've got to contact today. So hopefully we're going to have a nice little group there. It's not going to be a huge group, but this is a last minute thing, so I'm not all that worried about it. All right, guys, today is T-21. We're getting close. 21 subscribers away from 5,000. So if you haven't yet, please smash that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, take this as my invitation to subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And again, I'm trying to get past the 5,000 mark. So, all right, let's see what we have over here. I got a couple things before we actually get to the news today. Of course, that's the gym that Hot Air Tom and I will now be on September 6th and on. That's the MSC Magnifica. And then Elizabeth sent this at some rather rough weather. And yes, I'd say that looks pretty yucky. That's right off the coast of Argentina, which interestingly enough ties into the top story today. And that's flooding on a cruise ship. Now, this is Serenade of the Seas, Royal Caribbean International's Ultimate World Cruise has hit its first significant glitch just 24 days after departing Miami. Dramatic been recorded on board with streams of water flowing down corridors, soaking carpets and flooding balconies. Videos from the much talked about Ultimate World Cruise aboard Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas have shown massive flooding on deck 12. Water has been streaming in from one side of the ship and flowing to the other, pooling in the corridors and so deep along the way that currents and ripples can be seen as loose debris floats away. The flooding is a result of stormy weather with strong winds as the ship makes her way down the coast of Brazil and Uruguay. Between her port visits to Rio and Montevideo. That's about the same place that Elizabeth was. In that region, wind speeds over the past days or two have been 20 to 30 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 35. Combined with the ship's motion, this could mean relative wind speeds of 60 miles an hour or greater, depending on the wind direction and the ship's heading. These strong winds and driving rain and sea spray into the ship are what's causing the flooding the outside deck, and the water then flows through exterior doors on deck 12 and into the hall. Guests with balconies are also experiencing similar flooding on their balconies. When the seas calm and the winds die down, the excess water on deck and the balconies will drain through various outlets back into the ocean. Meanwhile, crew members are working to minimize water intrusion, and the ship's forward elevators are temporarily closed in case of damage or water. Undoubtedly, interior measures will also be taken, such as squeegeeing the water back out the deck and using industrial fans to dry carpeting as quickly as possible. I don't know, folks. Sometimes that gets, no matter what you do, it gets a horrible, musty smell. I hope these people that have spent that kind of money don't have to deal with that. While the issue is ongoing, certain public corners may also be closed. It's important to note that at this time, only one section of Deck 12 seemed to be experiencing these problems. The Radiance class Serenade of the Seas actually has 13 total decks. Only 12 are accessible to guests, and no other areas of the ship have reported problems. There's no indication at all of any structural issues with the ship, nor are there any hull breaches or other emergency issues. The flooding, while startling, is simply a result of poor weather and can happen on board any cruise ship anywhere in the world. So, the World Cruise from Royal Caribbean. All right, guys, I'll be back with a couple more stories after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. And before we get on to the news, folks, you might see that I'm a little dressed up today. It was 20 degrees here this morning, and I'm freezing. My room is part of the house that was built in 1903. So if you get the wind blowing just in the right direction that hits this corner of the house, it's cold in here no matter what. I mean, I have a little electric heater in my room in addition to the regular heater through the house. But it can get pretty nippy in this room. So I'm a little bundled up today. This guy's is so damn cold. And we got the big S word in the forecast for tomorrow. Who knows if we're going to get any or not. I mean, hopefully it's not going to be much if we do. All right. The next story today, folks. Oceania Cruises, an upmarket line known for destination immersion and culinary-focused sailings, revealed the itineraries of 3 new voyages that will explore the wonders of Asia and Africa in late 2024. Operated aboard the 1,250-guest Riviera, the cruises include a 59-day grand voyage from Barcelona to Singapore. Exotic ports of call and bucket list destinations in Africa and Asia are the highlights of 3 exciting new voyages. Oceania Cruises will debut in November. The offering is actually one long itinerary of 59 days and 2 segments of the same voyage, a 27-day and a 32-day. Riviera will call at lesser visited destinations, including West and East Africa ports such as Senegal, Gambia, Ghana, and Madagascar. Popular ports in Thailand and Malaysia figure prominently in the Asian portion of the cruise. The 59-day sailing, A Tale of 5 Seas, departs Barcelona on November the 14th and concludes in Singapore January the 12th of 2025. The itinerary features more than 24 port calls, and overnight stays are planned in Walvis Bay, Namibia. Excuse me, I pronounce that wrong every time. Cape Town, South Africa, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Malé in the Maldives, and in Singapore. With the help of Carnival Cruise Line ships, 2 popular cruise destinations managed to welcome over 1 million cruise passengers during the year of 2023. Amber Cove, Carnival's private destination in the Dominican Republic, and Ensenada, Mexico, celebrated the massive achievement before the end of the year. Congratulations to both. And you know, folks, all the years that I've been sailing, I've never been to Ensenada. I've sailed out of Los Angeles 5 or 6 times. I don't remember exactly how many. And out of San Diego twice. And somehow I've never been to Ensenada. So I got to put that on the itinerary someplace, I guess. I don't know how I've missed it, come to think about it, but never been there. Of course, I love Amber Cove, so that's why I had a picture up there with me in it. Amber Cove's one of my favorite spots. So, all right, the next story today, folks, comes from Royal Caribbean again. Royal Caribbean International has become an official partner of the Eurovision Song Contest for 2024 and 2025, helping bring to life vibrant musicians and amazing entertainment right at the start of the cruise line's next 2 European sailing season. Both the contest and the cruisers will be memorable experience for guests, blending culture and music globally for outstanding entertainment. Royal Caribbean is now taking music to the next level by becoming an official partner for the Eurovision Song Contest, an iconic annual event that first debuted in 1956. Yeah, folks, that's when I was 8 years old, and has grown more popular every year. Eurovision is the longest running international televised music competition according to the Guinness Book of World Records, and is one of the most watched non-sporting events worldwide. The event is organized annually by the European Broadcasting Union, and in 2023 reached more than 170 million viewers. Over the years, more than 50 countries have joined the competition. All right, and finally this morning, folks, MSC Poesia. I didn't say that right. Poesia is starting MSC Cruises 2024 World Cruise today. Departing from Italy, the 2008 built vessel is offering a 120-night itinerary. Before ending in Germany in early May, the cruise features visits to a total of 52 destinations in 31 different countries and territory. The Azamara Onward is in Miami today to kick off Azamara's 155-night 2024 World Cruise. Titled The Wonders of the World, the 5-month-long itinerary includes calls to a total of 60 destinations across 40 countries. Set to end in Barcelona in early June, the voyage sails through several ports of the globe, including Central America, South Pacific, Australia and New Zealand, the Far East, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, the Red Sea, and the Med. So, congratulations to MSC and the Azamara for getting their world cruises underway today. All right, guys. That wraps up the news portion of today's show. Let's go see who's fussing at me over in the chat room. Hot Air Tom is here. Gary Older Than Dirt. Gary, good to see you again, my friend. Gretchen's here up in Ohio. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. Sherry Brown is with us. Says good morning. Good morning, Sherry. Glad you stopped in. And then there is the chilly news. His chair would not fit in our sky cabin. I did some adjusting. Yes, I talked about that. We are now back to back on Jim out of Boston. Okay, so Hot Air Tom saying the same thing I said. Only he's not cussing me. I'm sure he's been cussing me ever since because he had to do all kinds of work that he's already done before. We will be staying on extended time in my favorite hotel, the Intercontinental in Boston, and again in Manhattan. Boy, he's going to kidnap me for a long time there, folks. Actually, that's great with me because I'll be happy to, provide content in both places. Just to show me using that chair in different venues. That'd be terrific. New trade rides booked, and my bucket list item to ride on Acela has been booked for Boston to Manhattan. Oh, okay. And no mumbling was involved. Well, Hot Air, I do appreciate that. Now we need to find some fun things to do in Boston between September 20th and 28th. We're going to be there 8 days. Oh, wow. I'm sure some lobsters will be involved. There's a lot to do in Boston. That time of year, I don't want to get in the traffic of a football game or anything like that, but there's the Patriots, you got the Celtics at Boston Garden, you got Cheers, you got all kinds of historic places. There's wonderful museums in Boston. Yeah, Boston's a good place. There's a lot to do. Actually, the cruise was much cheaper than Sky, so I get a good refund. Well, that's nice. Good morning, Dennis. How you doing? There's Steve's with us down in Kentucky. Emily's with us in New York. I hope all are well today. There's Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Good to see you. Hot Air said that must be an old picture of Jim. The pool does not have any slides now, but I don't think Chillie will mind. No, I don't mind not doing slides. Where did I get that from? I got that right from Norwegian's website, from their, images. You'd think they would keep up with it. I just assumed and then downloaded it to use. Huh. I will keep you guys posted about our snow and our snowstorm. Yeah, Hot Air Tom and I don't know if it's going to go far enough east for Hot Air Tom, but they're saying we could get some here. Of course, a little bit west of me is going to get quite a bit, but we'll just have to, you never can tell on these kind of storms. And this is, while we don't get much snow, I mean, we can get a pretty good snow and then it's gone in, an hour. Well, maybe not an hour, but Emily, I wonder if our train will stop in New Rochelle. You could come see us through the window. Okay, there's some Oriental language that I can't read. It says, hello, Mon. Thank you very much, whatever your name is. Welcome aboard. Montevideo is not video. Montevideo. Montevideo. Okay, yeah, I slurred over that one. What is the life all about? This is a cruising channel. We talk about cruising a lot and cruise ships and that kind of thing. Tom, take the fast ferry to Provincetown for that week. September is a postseason, not too rammed with tourists and cheap rooms. Yeah, Provincetown is kind of out on the end of Cape Cod. Some of the coldest water in the world. Of course, I'm not going to get into the water in September up there. I'll tell you that. But man, that water's cold. But yeah, I like Provincetown. That might make a nice trip out, Tom. I know you've got us taken care of within the Intercontinental. Go to sleep. Who is this person? I think we might be getting photobombed there. If you're talking about September, I'm thinking of joining you guys. The train does stop in New Rochelle. That would be awesome, Emily. Break out the Febreze. Katie's with us. There's Katie. Hi, Katie. I am here better late than never. Have a happy Friday, everyone. No problem there. Pass, please. Late pass, please, Katie. Oh, yeah. Hot Air wants your late pass, Katie, to let you in the late door. Then it says, oh, Katie. Hot Air says 74. Were you paying attention to what ship we are on now? Oh, Emily, are you paying attention to what ship we're on? Dennis, what is P-Town? Provincetown. Out on the end of Cape Cod, right on the very tip of Cape Cod. Poazio. Poazio. Okay. Yeah, I said that one wrong too. Hot Air, that's very kind of you to help out and do some adjusting for Chillie. Absolutely. Because, I mean, had he not done that, I would have had to have backed out completely, and he would be out trying to find somebody to book for for those two cruises. So yeah, I'm glad it worked out this way. And boy, I tell you what, I've never been on the Gem, so I'm going to get a new ship out of it too. Not a new one, but a new one on my agenda. But I was surprised. It has 46 accessible cabins. It has accessible suites. It has accessible balconies. I mean, obviously insides, which everybody has insides. That's normally where most of them are. But you rarely find accessible cabins in all categories. But you do on the Gem. So hats off to Norwegian for that one. Chillie has taken Cindy's spot. I'm looking forward to the North Side Bakery, an Italian eating in Boston. Yeah, there's some good eating there, Tom. Provincetown is beaches, restaurants, fantastic bike trails through the dunes. I always used to bike during my visits. I've never biked out there. Of course, I've gone to the beaches. I can't remember the beach we used to go to all the time. It's about, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 miles south of P-Town. I never will forget it. The first time I was in Provincetown, it was on a Saturday or a Sunday. I was maybe 10, 11 years old with my mother. My mother was driving, just the two of us, was driving through P-Town, and I mean, the sidewalks were overflowing with people. They're walking out in the middle of the road. My mother's trying to get through the traffic, and she hits her damn horn. And this guy jumps and turns around and says, "You damn fool!" That's the first time I ever heard my mother called a bad name. So I was in Provincetown. I like Provincetown. I like Cape Cod. I mean, you know, I got all kinds of stories about Cape Cod too. One time I went to an Amish auction out in Shipshewana, Ohio, and literally bought a truckload of antiques and drove them up to my friend that was an antique dealer out on Cape Cod. And I pulled into his driveway, and he comes out and goes through the truck and takes about half of the stuff I had on there and loaded it into his building. He calls a friend of his and says, "I'm sending my buddy over with a load of stuff." He says, "You probably want to take it all." So I drove on, 10 miles or something. And the guy goes out and gets in the truck and looks at us and says, "Yeah, how much is it for all of it?" So I gave him a price. I made like 10 grand for the trip up there and back. It was phenomenal. So yeah, I like New England a lot. I love Cape Cod. I like Boston. I'm thrilled that this has worked out the way it is. And of course, I'm close to lobster, which and lobster rolls. Real honest to God, good lobster rolls. Not like the crap you get on cruise ships. I mean, good lobster rolls. Joanne says, "Happy weekend, everybody. I would be happy if Chillie can find an accessible whale watch tour." Ooh. Now, that might be interesting. I've never done whale watching. There might be some puffin tours too. Let's see if I can find an accessible one. I'll work on that hot air time. Oh, that's a terrific idea. Absolutely terrific idea. See, hot air times, as usual, hot air time is 3 or 4 pages ahead of me. He's on page 5 already. I'm still at the bottom of page 1. So, and before the blip, there were about 75 art galleries. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been up there since then, but yeah, hot air Tom's kidnapping me. That's right, him. He's he's gonna get me and not let me go home. I love it. And Cindy, I will make sure that he brings you donuts. Don't worry about it. Ah, the Canadians say the lobsters are better in Halifax and Charlottetown. So I'm looking at tours that have some good eating. Ooh, I've had lobsters all the way. I have I don't know. It's hard to beat Maine lobsters. And Massachusetts lobsters are okay too, but because they're mostly Maine lobster. I've had lobster up in Nova Scotia too. Several places up there. That'll be interesting. Let's compare lobsters, because I'm telling you, hot air time, there's going to be more than one chance to find some lobster. Laura Woolridge is with us. Hi from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Minus 15 here. Oh, no, thank you. 20 degrees here and I'm freezing. Minus 15, I'd be dying. Glad you're with us, Laura. Dennis says, "Hello, Laura, and welcome." That's Dennis, by the way. He's in Greece. Emily, I have to double check a Boston train stopping in New Rochelle. Richmond is to just get cold. Okay. Laura says, "Hi, thank you. Need to get out of the cold and snow." Yeah, well, that's why when they make cruise ships, so we can do that. I'm getting ready to. I got a couple more weeks until I go again. I'm ready to go too. Emily, take Metro North to Stamford and then continue on Amtrak from there. Hot Air says we are on the train number 86 on September the 3rd. Emily says, "Hello, Gary, older than dirt. How are you?" Dennis says, the fast ferry to P Town is 90 minutes. Wow. Now, I've never done the ferry out there. I've only, all the times I've been to P Town, I've only driven. And I mean, because I like going out, I like the Cape. So I like all the little towns, especially down on the southern part of the Cape. Um, but yeah, that might be an interesting little side tour for a day, Hot Air. We'll have to check and see if the ferry's accessible. I'm sure it is by now. So yeah, that would be 90 minutes out. That would be a fun little excursion and spend the day walking around Provincetown without 8 million people. That's an interesting suggestion, Dennis. Where are you seeing this person not showing up on the YouTube chat? Which one? The one that I was the the Oriental guy? Is that what you're talking about? I didn't know you guys weren't seeing the exact same thing that I'm seeing. Gary Older Than Dirt says, just got back from California visiting the grandkids. Good to be home. It's nice to visit grandkids. I I do that myself when I can. Or they come here anymore. They come here more than I go out there because my son's house is split level, multi level, and has steps and stuff, and I can't do that anymore. So I'm not sure. I mean, I could stay on one level of the house. I don't think I could even go in his front door, so I'd have to go through the garage, and that would be the lower level. I don't know. We'd have to come up with something for me to go out and visit them again. So, Emily would agreeing with Dennis's directions there. Po Poizio. Poizio. Hey. Poazio. Yeah. Poazio. Okay. I had no idea the gym has so many accessible cabins. I I don't remember seeing any more than that on any ship. Usually it's like on the good ships it's like 20, and rarely do you have it on different categories. You have the majority of them inside interior, and you might have one or two balconies, and that's about it. So poesia, poesia, poesia. I don't know, Dennis. I'm a hard case. A hard case. My grandfather was a student in Boston and was introduced to P Town more than 80 years ago. Yeah. Well, let's see. So I'm 75. So it's probably 65 years ago when my mother was driving through there and got cussed out. So I'm 65 years. I don't remember exactly when it was. We went to Boston from that first trip when I'm thinking I was 10 years old. We went every summer until I left for college. So My mother had friends that were out near Foxborough, and so I spent a lot of my time in the summer up there. Uh, the people we visited there also had relatives up in Middle Stewiacke, Nova Scotia. He was a hare and a logger, and I went to Nova Scotia 2 summers and worked for him in a logging camp, which was certainly an interesting way. When I came back home for football practice in the fall, I was in a hell of a lot better shape than all my teammates were because I had been working my butt off all summer. And spent a lot of time up there. I love Boston. I really do. Do the Whale Watch tour from P-Town. Yeah, I'll do some checking on that. The problem is getting my chair on a ship, on a boat. When I did mine in Alaska, Nate was able to make a deal with a captain to actually lift my chair onto the boat. So it wasn't actually where I rolled on. With this heavier chair that I'm using now, I've got to pretty much be able to roll on. So they got to have a gate opening kind of thing. So I'll see. I'll do some working on that one. We got plenty of time now. So anyway, but I'm getting really excited about this, folks. I'm getting a whole lot more excited about this than I was on sailing out of Baltimore. We will have to do a lobster rating video instead of pizza. Yes, indeed. March and April, you can watch the whales breach whilst sitting seaside at Herring Cove in P-Town. They breach about 50 to 100 meters away. Really? Well, of course, we're going to be there in September. When is Pride Day month in P-Town? Yeah, that's a good question. Let me see. That's in June. Yeah, so that would be in June, the hot air. I am from Maine. My family has always said the Maine lobsters are the best. Wondering if the fast ferry is accessible. Yeah, me too. I'll do some checking. I got all kinds of homework I can do now, hot air Tom. Tom, that's Carnival Week around the 3rd week of August. Fantastic friend brought his mom. She thought the Carol Channing impersonator, Richard Skipper, in the parade was really her. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Laura. Chillie is always full of great news and information. Maine lobster's fantastic. I agree. Am I still saying it wrong? Poesia. Chillie, before I forget, my local Channel 12 Westchester News, they showed Roanoke on the map. I forgot to take a pic. Yeah, Roanoke, that's an hour away. And we're supposed to get some snow, so I'm not surprised. There's Fraser. Hi, Fraser. I haven't seen you forever, my friend. Good to see you too. We would eventually bring his family there every summer when he was working in New York, and would visit there with my grandparents growing up in the 80s and 90s. They enjoyed P-Town more than Hampton. Yeah, I kind of like it too. Victoria is here. Hi, she says. Nice to see you, Victoria. Our train does not stop in New Rochelle. First stop outside Penn Station is Stamford. And it says you got it. Okay, thank goodness, finally. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today and the weekend unless something major happens. Hot air's given me an air and Dennis have given me luck. That's good. I'll keep me out of trouble this weekend. As I'm licking my wounds, we had the plumbers were here again, dug up the yard for the fourth time. Wow. So now we're fighting with the water company because when they sent one of their people out, the meter was screwed up. They had to replace the meter, and we've been paying $600 water bills for like 5 months in a row and having the plumber come out each month for trying to find leaks. I got about $3,000 in this, maybe more than that now, $3,000 in this whole plumbing business. And we find out that the damn water company, the meter was bad. I don't know about this one. Might have a war on my hands, but we'll see. Anyway, that's going to wrap me up, folks. I'll stay out of trouble this weekend, I promise. Anything happens, I'll come back and join you, do something live, and I might do some lives this weekend anyway. Also, I've got to try. I can now do lives on Instagram. I haven't been able to do lives on TikTok, and I don't know why. It won't let me. And I've got all the requirements. So anyway, I'm going to work on that some this weekend as well. Also, I'm looking at, in case anybody's interested, let me know. I'm looking at a Norwegian Jewel May Alaska cruise, which has some pretty decent pricing. I know that's early in the season, but it's got some pretty decent pricing on it. So anyway, let me know. And don't forget the Magnifica coming up on February the 5th. Still got can get some openings on that. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, just like Hot Air Tom and I are going to do a bunch in this next year. I'll tell you that. All right, guys, have a great day and a great weekend. I'll see everybody Monday if I don't see you before then. Thanks, guys. See you later.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.